Hello everybody, welcome back to another Wellness Wednesday of KYT Online. I am Miss Megan, and this week we are going to talk about healthy vocal habits that you can incorporate into your everyday life to make sure that your voice is staying happy and healthy. So as singers and vocal performers, we have an added layer of responsibility compared to other musicians in that our body is our instrument, and everything we do to our body, whether that's eating or drinking or exercising, things like that, that affects our voice and how we're able to perform. So this video is going to show you some things that you may or may not have known about ways that you can easily keep your voice healthy. So without further ado, let's get started. So if you watched our first Wellness Wednesday video, this was the vocal warm-up video, you will remember that I challenged each and every one of you to fill up a reusable water bottle every day and drink through it as best as you can. I have been doing better with this challenge than I normally would if I didn't challenge myself, and I hope you've been doing really well with this challenge too. But if you aren't doing well with this challenge, this is the perfect opportunity to start a clean slate and get back on the challenge with us. So I challenge you, yes, you, to fill up a reusable water bottle every day and drink through it. And the reason I want you to do this is because hydration is so vital for making sure that everything that goes on with your voice runs smoothly. It's kind of like making sure you have enough gas in your car before you drive. There's not really a set amount of water that you need to be able to perform as best you can, but always making sure there's that constant sense of being hydrated, you don't feel thirsty, especially because singing is such an active thing to do. It's very important to make sure that you have enough water to feel like you're able to sustain yourself as you sing. The second thing I want to talk to you about is healthy and unhealthy ways that you can use your voice. And I'm going to demonstrate unhealthy ways that your voice works with pieces of paper. So in your throat, you have things that are called vocal folds, or some of you might have heard the term vocal cords. They're the same thing. It's pretty much interchangeable. So I'm going to use these sheets of paper to demonstrate your vocal folds. And when you sing or when you talk, air flows through them and it makes them go like this. So as air went through the pieces of paper, they started to move closer together and vibrate. This is what's going on in your throat whenever you sing or talk, and those vibrations create sound, and that sound in combination with the shape of your face and a whole bunch of other crazy things contributes to your voice, your unique voice, and how you sound. When we create sound with our bodies through our voice, we have two ingredients. We have the muscle, the vocal folds, and we have the air. And it's really important when we sing or talk to have a delicate balance between the two. Sometimes we will have too much of one and not enough of the other, and that's what creates unhealthy vocal habits, and I'll explain what I mean. So for example, if you have too much muscle and not enough air, that's what happens when you shout or scream. So obviously there are some emergency situations that you might have where you might need to scream or shout or something, but it's generally a good idea to avoid using your voice like that because it's not good to have not enough air balancing out the force of the muscle in your vocal folds. Conversely, you can have too much air going through the vocal folds but not enough muscle for the air to support. And this is what happens when you whisper, actually. When you whisper, there's so much air going past and your vocal folds aren't moving properly, and that creates some problems. So if you feel vocally unhealthy, it might seem like a good idea to talk quieter, but it's very important that you don't talk in a whisper or hushed tone. Thirdly, I want to talk to you about things we can do to our bodies to make them happier and healthier. So I want to talk about sleep, I want to talk about eating, and I want to talk about exercise. So let's start with sleep. It's so important that you are getting enough sleep each night. Roughly 8 hours is a good estimate. I know our sleep schedules are all crazy right now with quarantine. Maybe we're up scrolling on TikTok longer than we should be. Maybe we have a job that we have to get up early for, but it's really important that we strive for that 8 hours of sleep. You know how your brain is kind of foggy and not always 100% alert if you don't get enough sleep? That can happen to your voice too. And in order for it to operate in a healthy way, you need to make sure you're getting enough sleep each night. Second, let's talk about food. It's very important that you are consuming healthy food for your body, incorporating all of the different food groups in a healthy balance. And it's really important that we don't introduce a lot of major changes to our voice. For example, before an audition, it's not good to eat a lot of acidic foods like tomatoes, coffee, citrus, things like that. And that's because that drastically changes the pH level of your throat. That's a big sciencey term for how acidic or basic something is. And it's really important that we try to keep that as close to the middle or neutral as possible, like water. Water is very neutral, and that's why it's so good for your throat. So we don't want to introduce too many big changes with our diet before we have a major performance or anything. That's not saying you can't, of course, treat yourself to ice cream or something after a performance, but you want to make sure that before you perform, you are setting yourself up for success but not introducing major changes. Lastly, we need to talk about exercising. This is my personal biggest struggle, but it's very important as artists that we make sure our body is happy and healthy by exercising, especially with singing, because it's so much cardiovascular work with the sustaining of notes, with the way that you breathe. Everything is cardiovascular based. So if you work out in a way that increases your lung capacity, maybe stretches you in a cardiovascular way, and you're working out and you are making sure you're exercising in a way that's right for your body, that will in turn help your voice. With an increased lung capacity and better cardiovascular endurance, you'll be able to hold notes out longer, maybe reach notes that you weren't able to before. There's a whole lot of great changes that can happen from making sure that you're exercising properly. It's also just good for your overall well-being. A lot of these things that I'm saying specifically about the voice are very much applicable to your overall body and health. And like I said, your body health and your vocal health are very much related because our body is our instrument. The last thing I want to talk about with you guys is making sure that you are warming up and cooling down before and after every time that you sing. I know it's an easy step to skip, and it might not be as fun as like belting out your favorite show tunes or something like that, but it's super important that we transition from speaking to singing and then singing back to speaking in a gradual way. So, as I said before, we're not introducing a lot of big changes. It's not good to go from not talking at all to trying to bust out a high note, and it's not good to go from singing something crazy to not talking at all. So, if you go back to our first Wellness Wednesday video, which is the vocal warm-up video, I challenge you to pick one warm-up that you really liked, whether it was the straw, whether it was the lip or tongue trills, anything like that, and do 2 minutes of it before you sing and 2 minutes of it after you sing. I personally love to do lip trills as I'm getting in the car because I love to sing in the car. I love to practice in the car, and I always do at least 2 minutes of lip or tongue trills just to get myself warmed up, and I always do that at the end too to make sure that my voice is cooling down nicely. So that is all for your Wellness Wednesday this week. I hope you enjoyed learning about what makes the voice work. I hope you enjoyed learning about ways that you can keep your voice safe. And I hope that you are able to take these tips and incorporate them more into your everyday life. Make sure you come back right here tomorrow for Thrifty Thursday. I'm so excited about that. And we will see you guys soon. Have a wonderful week, everybody.